unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Christopher Rausch, your host here on the Raw and Unscripted show, and also your No Excuses coach. Thank you guys for coming back here for yet another episode of the powerful hit podcast that is designed to help you eliminate your excuses in favor of getting results. No matter what your past was, no matter what your present is, no matter what your future you decided to be, you are at your right place, because we help you get rid of those excuses and help you start developing the opportunity to think a little bit differently and think more clearly about your confidence and your opportunities in this life. So thank you for joining us here on the podcast, or if you're joining us live every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we are here live on the video cast, bringing it to you live so you guys can come in here and comment. We have people that are commenting, asking questions. It's an engagement time, right? So thank you guys for showing up here. Thank you guys for being here every single week. And let's just jump right into it. But before we do that, I want to talk about the last two episodes. People have been asking me, hey, Chris, can you, if I missed the last episode, can you talk about it on this episode? And so what I want to do is I want to tell you the last two episodes, if in case you missed it, in case you're brand new to the show, I spent it answering your questions. I went out on social media and I said, hey, you guys ask me the questions that you want me to answer on the show, and I will do that. I love doing that. I do it probably about once a quarter. And just my way of serving the community, the Raw and Unscripted community. We have a group on Facebook where it's just solely dedicated to personal development, personal growth with an edge. So be warned, there's an edge in there. There's some sarcasm, some humor, and some creative ways to get you to think differently about yourself and about your situations. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. But the questions I answered over the last two episodes are right here. So I'm going to give you the questions. I'm not going to give you the answers, because you're going to go back and listen to those episodes. And I promise you, there is so much content, so much value, so many opportunities for you to reshape your perspectives and your expectations about your past, present, and your future. Can you imagine what it would feel like if you didn't have fear as a part of your judgment process? Can you imagine what it would feel like if you just said, you know what, I may not know how to do it, but I'm going to go for it anyway? So here are the questions that I answered, and I got a lot of feedback on this, so I'm not going to give you the answers, of course. So how do I know when it's time to walk away from a relationship? How do I set healthy boundaries without feeling selfish? Should I quit my job to follow my passion? How do I deal with burnout? How do I stay positive as I get older? What's my purpose in life? How do I stop caring what others think? Why do I self-sabotage right before I succeed? And we're going to be talking about that tonight. So you want to go back and listen to that episode, those two episodes right there, because I answered that in detail. Self-sabotage is a huge, huge thing that we all do, and I still currently do. I have to be very careful about my excuses and my reasons and my things and that, because sometimes it's a disguise for self-sabotaging. Just be honest. We're going to talk about that again a little bit tonight. How do I find discipline and consistency? And why do I keep procrastinating even when I know what to do? So those are the questions. Go back and listen to those episodes. We're on episode number 342. We've been going for nearly 6 years. January 19th will be 6 years we've been doing the Raw and Unscripted podcast. So thank you guys all for showing up. Some of you guys have been here since the beginning. So thank you so much for that. But let's just get right into tonight's conversation. Tonight's conversation is titled The Lies We Tell Ourselves. And we do tell ourselves a lot of lies, and that is a form of self-sabotaging. So what I've done is I have gone out and I've looked and I've considered, what are the top lies that I hear as the No Excuses coach? What are the top lies I just hear in general? What are my top lies that I tell myself? And in other words, lies are excuses. But let's just jump right into it, because we've got 10 of them. So I want you to take notes and then take action on this. I'm going to be telling you what it is that we're covering. And then I'm going to give you some shift questions, which of course, you know me, I love questions. So these are questions you can ask yourself. And when you answer them honestly, and you take some time to think about the root of the answer, not just the symptom of the answer, but the root cause of where that answer comes from. And then you shift your perspective about it. And guess what? Change. And I'm also going to give you exercises for each one of these that you can also do as well. So by the end of this broadcast, you will be armed with more opportunities to ditch your excuses and get results. How does that sound? All right. So the first one, I don't have time. This is the number one thing I usually hear is, Chris, I don't have time. You just don't, if I had more time. So again, really what you're saying when you say you don't have time is you're self-sabotaging. What you're also saying is whatever it is that you say you don't have time for is not a priority. So whether it's your health, whether it's your finances, whether it's your relationships, whether it's the clutter around your house, whatever it might be, what you're saying when you say you don't have time is you say, I am not making this a priority. And sometimes we don't make things a priority until something breaks in our life, with our body or with our relationships or with something, with our job, with our finances. And then oh yeah, that was that thing I was going to do. And then what happens? What happens, guys? What happens when you say you don't have time, but then something breaks or something catastrophic happens? Suddenly you have time. You know why? Because you have leverage. You have leverage. So what you need to do is you need to sit there and look at a couple of aspects of when you say you don't have time. And I've had plenty, trust me, plenty of coaching clients that have come to me and said, oh, Chris, if I only had more time. And then I say, you know what? Tell me about your day from the time you get up until the time you go to sleep. And invariably, there's only been a few situations where I've been like, shit, yeah, you are really pressed for time. But in most situations, I find that people create busyness as an excuse to say they're overwhelmed or say they have too much going on or they don't have time. So when you think about that, what is the root? What is the root? When you think about that, we don't have time. There's the opportunity now. There's AI technology. There's ChatGPT. There's Google. There's YouTube. There are ways to simplify your life. There are apps and there are things that you can do. You can set timers. You can be more focused. You can get accountability partners. You could invest and have coaching. You can do all these things. You could take a class. You can hire a trainer, because when you pay attention, right? So when you think about it, maybe it's just a form of self-sabotage. Oh, I don't have time. The reality is you make time. You create time. We all get 24 hours in a day. So when you think about when you think about people who are super busy, Jennifer Lopez or anybody else that you think is super busy, they have 24 hours in a day, but they still get their workouts in. Sometimes you see them working out at 10 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning. They make it a priority. So when you think about that, when you think about, you don't have time, sometimes it's the overwhelming aspect of whatever it might be, or daunting, or all sorts of different things that we're going to talk about here. So when you say you don't have time, here are a couple of questions you can ask yourself. What is actually stealing my time? What distractions, or are they distractions or priorities, right? How much time do you spend on your phone? Being productive. If you have an iPhone, you can get your screen time every single week, and you can make your screen time go up or down. If you're Googling answers and you're using ChatGPT and you're using your phone to get information and to take action, then that's a good thing. But if you're looking at it, you're scrolling and you're comparing yourself to what other people are doing or not doing, that nanosecond in time where they take that picture. I just saw it recently. I saw a bunch of people, they were arguing and fighting and they were not getting along. It was a family. And they're like, hey, we got to take a picture. And then for that moment, they all went, yay, like they liked each other. And as soon as the camera took the picture, they went back to being miserable. And I'm like, people are going to judge their life based on seeing your pictures all the time. And they're gonna self-sabotage. They're gonna compare themselves. So don't do that. So when you think about the question, if I tracked my time for 3 days, what patterns would I see? And I invite people to do it for 7 days. My coaching clients will do it for 7 days. I'm like, track your time. What is it that you're doing? How are you managing your time poorly? Are you not allowing yourself enough time? Are you taking too much time? Oh, I got to do this and I got to do this. And I'm like, do you really have to do that? Or are you using that excuse? Are you creating that so that you are overwhelmed and you can't find the time to be able to do what it is that you need to do? Oh, I can't. I don't have time to exercise. I don't have time to eat healthy. I don't have time to meal prep. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. So when you get to the root of that, like, why are you self-sabotaging yourself? Why are you getting in your own way? And what would it be like if you had time? Right. And I'll use this example. I had a lady tell me she didn't have time. And I said, well, tell me about your day. And she talked about how she has to make lunches for her kids and her husband, and she has to do the laundry, and she has to do this and that, and da. And I said, what would it be like if your family helped you out? Oh my God, Chris, they would never do that. They take me for granted and they always expect me to do it. And it was all these excuses and all this form of self-sabotage. And I said, so if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, or if you wound up in a hospital for 2 weeks, are you telling me that your husband and your kids would not have clean clothes and would not have lunches to school and to work? Well, no. What would they do? They would figure it out, or they would have my sister come over and do it. I'm like, they would get resourceful. So how about this? Have you ever talked to your family about asking them for help? No. I don't want to intrude on them. They've got all these excuses again. I'm like, what if you just called a family meeting and said, hey, listen, guys, I just invested in a coach and I really want to start this business, or I really need time to do this, or to take care of my health, or to meal prep, or to whatever it might be. I need your help. So I tell you what, instead of me doing all of the laundry, how about you guys put your laundry together? You bring it down, you put it by the washer and dryer. I will wash it and dry it. And then I'll set it back next to the stairs, or I'll set it next back to your room. And then you fold it and put it away. How does that sound? And then if you have young kids, you can sit there and say, I'll give you $2 a week to do it. So you're establishing responsibilities, accountability. You're allowing them to make some money. And then you've got an hour a day. You've got a half hour a day. And that may not seem like much, but over time, you imagine you spent that 30 minutes and you were clearly focused on what it is that you needed to do. Chances are that 30 minutes would balloon. Chances are you would realize, oh my God, this is so much more fun than I thought it was going to be. This is so much easier than I thought it was going to be. And you get on a roll. And then you realize, oh man, I've been doing this for 2 hours. Oh, but I didn't do that. Oh, now this is the priority. My excuse is no longer the priority. The priority is actually me doing those things. Okay. So think about that. What would I make time for if I truly believed it would change my life? There's another question. So again, the 3 questions are: what's actually stealing my time? Distractions or priorities? Second question, if I track my time for 7 days, what patterns would I see? And then the third question is, what would I make time for if I truly believed it would change my life? And I can tell you, number 1, take care of your health. Make sure you're taking care of your health. Here's some exercise to do. You could do a time audit. Like I just said, you could do a priorities check. Like, what are my 5 to 7 priorities each week that I need to get done? Absolutely, without fail, do I need to get done? And what are some opportunities? What are some opportunities to do things differently, or perhaps not to be as detailed? Perhaps you spend 2 hours making dinner every night. What if it would be like if you just did 45 minutes and you made enough for leftovers the next night, leftovers for lunch the next day, put them in Tupperware containers, put it in the refrigerator, and then they could just pull it out with their name on it and take it to work and take it to school, and then they have lunch. And trust me, there are so many ways to be creative. And if you don't know how to be creative, and if you think you've done it all, then get some people in your life to ask you some questions and to question you on what it is that you do, like myself. And then the excuses go, and the productivity starts to come. Lie number 2, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I've heard so many people say this, and I've said that as well. Oh, I'm just not ready yet. I'm just not ready. That's bullshit. Again, that's self-sabotage. It's a fear of making mistakes. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of disappointing other people. And I just did a show on this in September. I did a show called Perfection and Procrastination. It was episode number 336, if you want to go back and listen to it or watch it. In there are extreme details and extreme questions just to be able to overcome perfectionism and procrastination. So another thing in this one is, like, people say I'm not ready yet, and they'll say that I'm preparing, or I'm putting everything together. Everything has to be perfect. No, you could do a little bit of preparation, but the thing you need to do is take that imperfect action. Like, just start putting one foot in front of the other. Just start figuring it the fuck out. Like, so many people, I want to do a podcast, but I just don't know. I had a lot of people tell me this. And I'm like, just start talking about what it is that you're most passionate about. Create the first 10 episodes of things you really would love to leave behind, lessons you would love to leave behind, or whatever it might be, the best recipes, whatever it might be, and just start doing it. And then realize it's going to take each episode. I've been doing it for 6 years. Trust me, I'm still learning, and I'm still growing, and I'm still able. Now I've been working on not talking as fast. And so each time you make the camera a little bit better, you make your positioning sound better, you make your podcast promo sound better, you get a different camera, you get a different microphone, you start upgrading, you start having guests on, whatever it might be. You just start slow and you just figure it out. Because I'll tell you this, nobody ever goes back and watches my original episodes. Every once in a while, people, I just watched your first one, or I just watched your 15th one, or whatever it might be. People are generally going to go look at your most recent podcast. They're not going to go back because they're going to think the information is not timely, or you weren't as good back then. And plus, everybody's just busy with all their own life. So don't sit there and sabotage yourself and say, I'm not ready yet. Say, I am ready yet. And stop telling yourself that. Stop telling yourself that negative reinforcement of I'm not ready yet, or I'm not good enough, or whatever it might be. Right? So here's some questions that you could shift that. When you say I'm not ready yet, here's the questions you could do. What does ready even look like? And what defines that for me? This is a big thing you can do in your life, ladies and gentlemen, is you can take a look at the words you're using or the statements you're using. I just had somebody use it yesterday. They said, oh, a lot. And I said, what does a lot mean to you? Why do you say a lot? Well, I'm like, what if you quantified it differently? How would you say it differently? And a lot was overwhelming. I said, does that sound overwhelming? And she said, yeah. And I said, I've got some things to do. What about that? Well, that sounds manageable. Yeah, that sounds realistic. It doesn't spike your anxiety level. So when you think of like, okay, what does ready even look like? And who defines that for me? I define that for myself. Am I ready? Do I have a message? Do I have something passionate that I want to say? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Even if I just do it on my cell phone, right? I started off my podcast literally as a walk and talk video. Just sit there and just held my phone up in front of me while I was walking my dog. And that became something. I'm like, okay, I've got a lot of subject matter. I've got a lot of opportunity. And that walk and talk, because it was raw and unscripted, became the name of the podcast, Raw and Unscripted. Because I said, you know what? I just want to be me. I'm better in flow. But over the years, I've done more preparation. To make sure that I stay on track, to make sure that I don't forget something to tell you. So now I take notes and now I plan it. So it's not exactly unscripted, but I definitely don't go off a script. I go off bullet points. And so the bullet points are on my screen right behind the camera. So I can just sit there and look at them while I'm talking to you. Here's another question. What am I avoiding by waiting? What am I avoiding? I'm avoiding success. I'm avoiding failure. I'm avoiding rejection. I'm avoiding whatever it might be. What am I avoiding? The one thing you'll get by avoiding is you'll get regret. Now, I want you to fast forward your life, wherever you're at, 10, 20, 30 years, and then think and feel about the pain of regret of saying yourself, you said all your life, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. And then you're 60 and now it's too late, which is something we're going to talk about here in a second. So you're not ready yet. Ask yourself, do I deserve the success? I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, then that's a root problem. If you don't deserve it, if you don't feel worthy of the success or the opportunity to at least try, if you're already sabotaging your success because, oh yeah, I tried something similar to this 20 years ago and I failed, or I was never good at that, or I'm not good. Stop doing that to yourself. It's ridiculous. The only person that is blocking your success and your happiness is you, is the person in the mirror. So here's some exercises. You can do the imperfect action challenge. Take one small step daily for a week without over planning and journal what happens. That's something you could do. Here's something else you could do, a fear inventory. List all your fears about starting and the next to each one, right? And if that happened, I could still do blank. So figure out what it is and then plan for it. That's part of the goal planning process when you work with me, is we sit there and say, okay, what are the potential obstacles? What are going to be the potential obstacles? Oh, I tend to get distracted. I have ADHD. Okay. So what are some things that you can do to minimize the obstacles? What are some things you could do to minimize that distraction? Can you go to the library? Can you go to the park? Can you go sit in your car in a parking lot? Can you go find a place where it is that you can focus solely on that thing instead of having to be in a situation where you might be distracted? And I know I do that. I go down to the beach and I ride. I've gone to the library. I've gone to the park. I've gone for a drive to brainstorm and just to record things into my phone, because I tend to have great ideas when I'm in the shower or I'm driving. So I used to drive a lot for my corporate job. So now what do? I go get in the car and I listen to the radio and I journal in my phone. I just use my voice notes and I just put it in there. And then I transcribe it so I don't have to sit there and listen back to it. I transcribe it and then I put it in ChatGPT and I say, summarize this into bullet points. So you could take a 45-minute brainstorming session, just getting shit out. And then you could come back and you could download it and you can upload it into chat. I don't know how to do that, Chris. It sounds so complicated. It's not fucking complicated. Guess what? You just have to go to the Google and say, how do I utilize technology for voice recognition notes to text? Whatever it might be, just go out there and start asking the questions, because the technology is there to answer them for you. I've learned about gun safety. I've learned how, like, all these different things. I can't even put words and things to it because there's so much. And I just go on YouTube and I sit there and I watch a bunch of different informational videos and I sit there and think, okay, the last 7 people said these 3 things, so those must be the most important. And then I take action. I take that imperfect action, or I sit there and I plan, okay, what are 3 things that I can do immediately to execute on this plan? Right? I do it all the time. I'm sitting here notepads, all sorts of different notepads and sticky notes. I have sticky notes, and we've talked about this. Put your sticky notes on your computer. I have 3 different colors of sticky notes on my computer of very important things that I want to be remembered for. Remember for myself. One of them says, just not today. Just not today. Sometimes we just have to tell ourselves, not today, just not today. I'm just not going to self-sabotage myself today. I'm not going to have a negative self-talk today. You know what? I'm going to speak nicer to myself today. I'm going to drink lots of water today. I'm going to get some sleep today, whatever it is. I'm not today. I'm not going to get upset over things that I can't have no control over today. All right. Here's another one. It's just who I am. How many times have you heard somebody say that and you sit there and think, well, that's just who you are right now. And to react to the things in your life to create this identity of yours. So your identity is either confident or not confident. Your identity is either a victim or a victor. This is just who I am as a cop-out. Again, when you think about that, that's what you're saying. You're saying to yourself, you're saying, you know what? I'm just not open to growth. I'm not open to critique. I'm not open to anything. This is just who I am. Or I'm too old to change, or whatever other excuse you want to put in there. It's bullshit. Right? It's just who I am. It's who I was. Like I just literally by the way, I do a group coaching program in case you guys have been living under a rock. Especially with 2026 coming up, you should really investigate that. It's completely affordable, and it absolutely blows my forever loving mind how more people are not a part of this group coaching program for the affordability and for the fact of the access to me twice a month. You get an accountability partner. I mean, it's pretty transformational for a ridiculous low amount of money. And it's my way of giving back to you guys, because to work one-on-one with me is expensive, but it's worth it. And it's worth it. So when you think about that, you should be a part of this group coaching program, because I just did this with my coaching clients. The previous week, we just covered it yesterday. I asked them who they were, who they are, and who they're becoming. And there was some greater details into that. So when you think about this is just who I am. It's who I was. But now, you know what? I'm awake. I'm aware. You know what? And I've decided that I'm no longer going to live in that lane of self-sabotage, that lane of jeopardizing my success, that lane of being a victim, that lane of blaming everybody else. Maybe I'm not going to be in that lane anymore. Maybe I'm going to own myself and say, you know what? From this point forward, I'm not going to be a person who blames other people or past situations for why I'm miserable now. Why am I miserable now? So here's a question you can ask yourself. Who taught me this belief about myself? Dig back into your childhood, guys. Dig back into your childhood, because chances are something happened between 0 and 10 years old, or a couple of things happen, or a lot of things happen that caused you to develop your belief system about yourself. Whether you're worthy or lovable, whatever it might be, likable, accepted, you fit in, whatever it might be, you made a bunch of beliefs about yourself when you were young, and nobody ever worked with you on them to change them. So there's still those little boy and the little girl thoughts in your mind. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not energetic enough. I'm not outgoing enough. Whatever it might be, I'm not enough. And it's just who I am. I've always been that way. Well, what if it would be like if you stopped using the word always, because it's not true? And what would it be like if all of a sudden tomorrow you started instilling a little bit of confidence in yourself? You wake up and you say, you know what? I'm going to go on. My intention today is to push myself a little bit more out of my comfort zone. My intention today is to no longer be a victim of past circumstances that are now just electrical energy in my brain, right? There's no evidence of what has happened in our life except for what's up here, the story we tell ourselves. So if you keep telling your story about the victim, or this is just who you are, guess what? You're going to continue to be that way. So when you think about it and you go back into your childhood, who taught me to have this belief about myself? Chances are it's going to be one of your parents. It's going to be your teacher. It's going to be somebody at school. It's going to be somebody in your extended family, somebody in your neighborhood, whoever it might be, said something to you that caused you to go, oh, that's my truth. It must be true. 2 people have said it to me. Everyone tells me, right? It's not everyone. It's not always. So stop using that type of language and sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to choose to be different. And I'll give you a personal example. The short story is that at 13 years old, up until 13, I was physically abused in my house, mentally abused in my house, bullied at school, bullied on my block. I had no sense of self-confidence at all, at all. So for me to create the brand that I have about authenticity, to be able to speak on stages in front of thousands of people, to be able to do this podcast for 6 years, to be able to do another podcast for 5 years, to do a podcast in between, to mentor kids, to do all these different things, to be a leader, to get a master's degree, to do all the things in my life, I had to get over my limiting beliefs of myself based on whatever the people told me or based on my experiences. Say, just because I was homeless doesn't mean I can't have a master's degree. It took me 12 years. It took me painful dedication and painful sacrifice. But when I got that master's degree, all the parties and all the things that I thought I missed out on, I didn't, because now I had that degree, and because it catapulted me in my career. I look back at people that I thought I was, missing out on, and those people kind of just stayed status quo. They just stayed mediocre, and that's fine for them. But I wasn't about to stay mediocre. I wasn't about to work 3 jobs just to live for the weekend and just to hope that something great would happen in my life. You have to create that greatness for yourself. You have to create that greatness for yourself. Right? So here's another question. How has this identity helped me, and how has it limited me? Right? So this is who I am has helped me. And there may be situations, because you're stubborn, or you don't tolerate people's bullshit, or you're cranky, whatever it might be. There may be times where you can look at that personality trait or look at that position and say, hey, that served me. God, if I hadn't have been so stubborn or blah, 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 then, I would have been ran over or whatever it might be. So this is my protection, because this is who I am. But when you think of how it's limited you, I had somebody who was justified in their authoritarianism and their need to be in control and their need to be right and all that other stuff. And I said, how has that limited you? That person was fired from every job that they ever had. They lost every relationship they ever had, including their daughter. It was pretty tragic. And that person was my mother. So I had to learn the hard way to sit there and say, you know what? I'm not going to turn out like her. Even though that was pretty much my sole experience growing up was her. And so I had to sit there and say, how am I going to be different than her? How am I going to be different? This is not just who I am. And my mom used to say, oh, this is who I am. This is who I am. And she wore it like a badge of honor. And I said, it's not a badge of honor, Mom. It's not. People don't like you. People think you're stuck up and you're opinionated and you're racist and all sorts of different things. And she wasn't. But it was just the things she said, the way she said it. This is just who I am. And to her credit, that's who she was. And unfortunately, she died early, and she died pretty sad. So here's the question for you. Who do I want to become next? Like, I want to wake up in the morning and feel energy. I want to wake up in the morning and have clarity. I want to wake up in the morning and be in charge of my life. I want to wake up in the morning and not focus on the negativity in the world that I can't control. I want to wake up in the morning and be somebody who is admired, somebody who is respected, somebody who inspires other people to go that extra effort. That's what I tell myself every day. My intention is to use my words and my actions to make this world a better place. My intention is to be the best dad I can possibly be. My intention is to listen more than I talk. My intention is to make a difference in this world. So that's who I get to be next. Who do I get to be next after that? The sky's the limit, right? I'm gonna probably start a music podcast. I'm revamping the Raw Unscripted podcast for 2026. So who am I going to become next? Right? And I will give you a little inside look. I've been doing this podcast and I've been teaching you guys what I know. And as I've learned and grown and gone through vulnerable experiences, I've shared those this year. More than anything, I've done a bunch of vulnerable podcasts about my life and about my fears and about my vulnerabilities and about what's going on in the world and my fear of AI and all that stuff. I've had those. And so now I've decided, okay, who am I becoming next? How about this? How about we take a look at some of the subjects that I'm not an expert at? And maybe you're not an expert at, but we have assumptions and we have ideas about it. And maybe we've heard the term, like one of those terms is toxic masculinity, right? For me, it doesn't bug me. I don't know, whatever, the Andrew Tates of the world and the Joe Rogans and all, whatever, so what? But people keep bringing it up. So I'm like, what if it'd be like if I did a show where I don't know all the answers? I know about toxic masculinity. I can understand it, but how about we all dive into it and we both learn together? And maybe I show you that process of what it looks like to look at something from 3 different sides. From my own side, my perspectives and my beliefs and my past and my history and my experiences. But how about if I look at it from the outside? How about if I look at it from a different set of shoes? What if I looked at it from the viewpoint of the person that I respect and admire the most? How would they view that person? How would they view that situation? Right? There's something I teach in my coaching program. It's called act as if. So when I have a bad situation, I think in terms of what would Dana say or what would Bill say? Or there's other people in my life. But for the most part, I'm like, Bill would sit there and, hey, Chris, he had this New York Buffalo accent. And he would tell me, hey, Chris, da, 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 da. Or Dana would be like, fucking where the bear shits in the buckwheat, blah, blah, blah. He would say all these little Dana-isms, but they would fucking like light me up and sit there and ask me some questions and make me take responsibility and not bullshit myself or not bullshit him. So who is it you want to become? Who do you want to become next? So here are a couple of exercises you could do. Identity rewrite. Write, I am someone who statements that align with your future. I am someone who follows through. I am someone who doesn't procrastinate. I am someone who takes action. I am someone who is confident in their answers. I'm someone who listens more than they talk. I am someone that doesn't make assumptions. I am who you go become. And then maybe, just take, I buy these from Amazon, the little 8.5 by, I don't know, 5.5 pads. There's a ton of them. You could sit there and you can label each one and just write it down. And maybe write it down, and every single day you can journal a little bit about it. Like, what qualities does that person have that I don't? How can I be more tolerable? How can I create more boundaries for my life so that I'm not letting people walk all over me? Right? So you can do that. Evidence log. Every time you act differently than the old identity, record it, and proof builds belief. So you can sit there and say, okay, I'm going to document each time I go a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm going to document each time that I speak up when I probably would have just been quiet and taken whatever happened to me. Right? Start writing down those wins. There's another way you could do it is just take a sticky note and write it down on that and put it in a jar. And then on those tough days where you're just not wanting to get out of bed or you're feeling really down, which will happen. It's part of the hero's journey. You look over at that jar and you're like, fuck, I didn't realize it, but already this year I've done 13 actions that I normally wouldn't have done. And because I took those 13 actions, now I'm feeling more hopeful. I'm feeling more positive. I'm feeling more opportunity for me to love who I am and who I'm becoming. Because I'll tell you this, guys, I talked to a lot of people during COVID and I started asking them this one question. Do you love yourself? Yes or no? And I was surprised at how many people struggle to love themselves, to like themselves. But yet their expectation was that they were going to be successful in their job, that they were going to have the perfect relationship, that they were going to have the family, that they're going to have the opportunity for financial freedom, whatever it might be. What's that going to be for you? What are the opportunities going to be for you? So do the evidence log. And you can hear this like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. But unless you stop and sit there and say, hey, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to take action. Put it in your phone. I'm a fan of paper. So when you write it down, it's kind of like this agreement, this contract that you create with yourself. So start doing that. Mirror talk. Here's another. You look at yourself in the eye and say, I am evolving. Right? Mel Robbins, the famous author and motivational speaker, she talks about high five yourself in the mirror. High five yourself. Tell yourself you got this. Fucking, you're a badass. You're an unstoppable motherfucker. You are somebody that has been through some shit in your life and you fucking keep going. How about that? How cool is that, ladies and gentlemen? How cool is that? Here's another one. I'll be happy when. Ooh, conditional happiness. What you're also doing is you're postponing the present moment. You're chasing illusion and you know in your gut you don't deserve it. Or we revert, when we go for those things, we revert to our normal operating mode because it's safe and it's predictable and it's certain. If I do these things, I know the outcomes and nothing will rock me outside of my comfort zone. And so we do those little things and we sit there and we see people doing those things. Well, I wish I was like them. Again. Or we sit there and say, oh, I'll be happy when I have the right job, or I'll be happy when I have the right relationship, or I'll be happy when I'm thinner, or I'll be happy when my clothes are this, or whatever it might be. And here's what I wrote down. This lie suggests that you need something external to feel happiness. But when you are grateful for what you have, which is probably a lot by most people's standards, many people would trade places with you to have your problems and your situations right now. And you may not feel like, oh my God, I've got this and I've got this and I've got that. Trust me, I've done the organization that I volunteer for, Help Heal Humanity, does a ton of work in Haiti, the country of Haiti, and what those people endure and what they've gone through and what they've lost and how they make things great by having an empty plastic bottle to kick around. right? Fuck. But yeah, we have so much. And oh yeah, if I only had a phone with all the answers, if I only had the answers. I just watched a program yesterday about centennials, people who have lived up to be 100 years or older. And that was one of the things that they did is they were grateful. They were grateful. They didn't prolong their happiness. They didn't put it out somewhere. I'll be happy when. It's like, how about right now? You know, how much more fulfilled in your life? You just looked around and went, fuck, you know, it's a pain in the ass. I got this and I got that and I got all these challenges. Like I got clutter around my house and I get frustrated. But then I think, Jesus Christ, Chris, in 5 years, he's going to be 13 years old and he's not going to have any of these toys around. And you're going to be like, where is he? I wish he was around. I wish he had toys. I wish we could play Legos. I probably should have been more playful and present when I had my kid here. Like, don't think you're going to be happy when I'll be happy when the house is cleaned. I'll be happy when they listen to me and all that other stuff. No, because you're going to have a new set of problems. And you get right now, this is what we get. We get this moment. We get the beauty of this moment to be able to decide for ourselves what it is that we're going to do next and what we're going to focus on. And sure, there are a ton of responsibilities and things that are overwhelming in our life. And I don't discount But can you carve out just a little bit of space? And can you guard that space? Whether it's a Saturday morning before everybody else gets up. Oh, I need my sleep, Chris. Is that a lie you're telling yourself? Does it really make that much of a difference? If you got up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday and you did from 5 to 8, you had 3 hours and you did that every 7 days. There's 52 weeks in a year. 52 times 3 is what? I don't know. It's a lot. It's 150. I don't know. It's a lot of hours. And you may say, oh, it's going to take forever. How do you define forever, right? We say, oh, it's going to take forever. No, it may take a year. It may take 2 years. It may take 3 years. But progressively, as you do these things, you start building that confidence and you start building that consistency. You start building that muscle. And it no longer becomes a chore to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, because you know that when you walk out of the gym at 6:30, you're going to feel accomplished. You're going to feel great. You're going to be 10 steps ahead of everybody else who get up in the morning and oh, I need my coffee and I'm so tired and I don't get going until noon, and all these excuses and all these identity labels that they put on themselves that hold them back. So here's some questions you can do to shift that. What am I postponing joy for? Like, what am I postponing it for? And usually it is because you don't feel you'd really deserve it. And like, get to the root of that. Why don't I feel like I deserve it? Why do I feel like I'm not good enough? Oh, because I allowed people in my life when I was a kid. Those people didn't know any better, right? Because a lot of times they thought the negative reinforcement was going to be the positive reinforcement that, right? What is that phrase? They try to scare you into stuff. Nobody's going to love you if you're fat. That's what my wife's dad told her. And that phrase stuck with her. So much so that after we had been married for a lot of years, I had to say that, do you realize that's not true? But she still thought it was true. Even though we got married and we had been together for all these years, that was still a story she thought was true. Until it wasn't true anymore. Until she went, yeah, you're right. He was wrong. I'm like, did he love you or did he want to hurt you? Did he fucking hate you? No, he loved the pieces out of me. And I'm like, okay, so how can you look at that from a loving standpoint? How can you not take that as something negative and just realize he was just trying whatever he could do in those moments to inspire you, to scare you? And sometimes that works, that leverage. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to do it. And then sometimes we do that for other people. We don't do it for ourselves, and then it's not sustainable. So you got to think about what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. Questions. What am I postponing joy for? Or here's another question. How can I make today meaningful even if nothing changes? Right? What's a moment you could be present for? I swear to God, as soon as I'm done recording this podcast, my son's off today because it's Veterans Day here in the United States. And thank you all my men and women who have served and protect our country and our freedoms. Thank you. So I'm going to go downstairs, and for the rest of the night, I'm going to be dad. How can I make today meaningful? My son goes to sleep tonight and says, oh man, we had so much fun. And it's not all day. It's already almost 4 o'clock. But maybe for the next 4 hours, I could be super dad and we could play and have so much fun, and I could be creative. So how can I make today meaningful if nothing changes? Something has to change. After I'm done here, I'll sit here in a pause and I'm like, okay, I'm no longer motivational Chris or podcast Chris. I'm a dad to an 8-year-old. So go downstairs and act like it. Don't put on let the identity go of everything else and just go downstairs and have fun. Right? Last question. What did I once have that I prayed for and I do still appreciate it? There you go. You can do gratitude practice. There's so many different things you can do. Here's another phrase. I got to be careful on time. I can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help it, Chris. I can't help it. Yeah, bullshit. You're just saying you don't want to help it. You don't want to change. You don't want to have to put yourself through that commitment and consistency and that pain and that anguish. It's going to be so hard, Chris. It's going to be so hard. I hear it all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but it's going to be worth it. It was hard going to school for 12 fucking years. I didn't think I was smart. It's not like I went to school and was like, oh, I got this. Every class, every homework assignment was stressful. And I had to work harder at it because I didn't do good in elementary school. And I thought I didn't do good in elementary school because I thought I was not smart. Why? Because my mom told me I was stupid and I got bad grades, but I had ADHD. And then I had a vision problem and I had a hearing problem. And guess what? When they finally fixed all those things in the 6th grade, I was doing pretty good. And then I dropped out in the 7th grade. So I could take all the labels and say, oh, I did shitty and I was bad and I was terrible and I was all this stuff. But I just took one action. I said, okay, let me find out about this general equivalency diploma. And maybe it might take me 5 years to make it my high school diploma, but maybe by the time I'm 23, I'll have my high school diploma. I'll have a GED. But fortunately for me, I was actually pretty smart and it took me 6 months to get my GED. I made up from 7th grade to high school, got my GED, general equivalency diploma, got it done, was like, yeah. And because I had people in my life that said, okay, that's not it. What about going to college, Chris? And I personally had never considered college. I thought I was going to work 3 jobs for the rest of my life to hopefully just barely make it and not live in the streets. But I said, you know what? Fuck college. It's so expensive and I'm not smart and I'm not like everybody else. And I didn't go to high school and I don't know all these things. And maybe I just got away with the GED. Maybe they just let me pass because they felt sorry for me. All these different negative self-talks that we can put on ourselves. But guess what? I just marched my ass right into the Student Services Center and I said, hi, I just recently got my GED. I'd like to know if I can come to school here. And I was embarrassed and I was fucking long hair and a beard and cigarette smoke. And I didn't look like anybody else. I'd been through hell and back. And they said, sure. And a couple hours later, I walked out with a parking pass, 2 books, and a class. And then the next 12 years, got my AA degree, my bachelor's degree, and then I graduated with my master's degree the same year I bought my first house. Was it hard? Fuck. All I did was homework and schoolwork. I had study groups where I had to drive to. I gave up my life pretty much in order to get that. But what did I gain? I gained so much more in my life. I gained self-respect. I gained the belief that I could do whatever I put my mind to, even if it was hard. And just perhaps that things that are hard are the fucking cool things, right? To be able to push yourself to practice guitars consistently. I haven't done that. That's one of my areas of regrets. I have tons of guitars all over the place and I give myself the excuse because I broke my metacarpals in my hand. That's the excuse that I can't play that great. Or I get to a point and then I sabotage. But what would it be like if I just sat there and pushed through the pain? What would it be like if I got guitar lessons? What would it be like in a year if I really dedicated myself to learning 5 songs, right? I can play guitar, but it's like, oh, it's just good enough. But what if we just no longer gave ourselves the excuse that I can't help it? What if we started asking ourselves the questions, what's really triggering this reaction? Again, getting to the root. I hope you get this, guys. When you get to the root and you pull that root out, guess what? It can't grow back. Who benefits when I believe I have no control? Your husband, your wife, your kids, your friends. Oh, they can walk all over your coworkers. Oh, Sally will just bend over and take it. Who benefits when I have no control? Everybody else. I don't benefit. Third question. What could I choose instead if I paused for 10 seconds before reacting? Right? I call it hitting the pause button all the time. Let's hit the pause button. I don't need to react right in this moment. And maybe in this moment I could sit there and I could choose to say, you know what? Let me think about that. Let me think about that. And like I said on a podcast recently, if you're one of those people that gets it from everybody, I'll tell you this, no is a complete sentence. You can say, no, thank you. No, I don't want to do that anymore. No, you need to find somebody else. No, I'm not going to stay on overtime. No, I'm not going to cover somebody else's shift. No. And don't feel guilty about that. Because again, if you go back to your past, you'll find that you felt guilty for telling your parents no, or not helping your sister, or being selfish. You're being selfish. And so we don't do that. So think about it. Here's another one. It's too late for me. I don't hear that one too much because most of the people that I'm working with don't care. Like I sat there and I thought about, I watched this program yesterday about people who live to be over 100, because how would I love to be over 100? I'm 56 now. If I live to be 110, I'm just getting started. Like some of these people are like, oh yeah, I still feel like I'm 70 or 80. And I'm sitting there thinking in my life right now, I'm like, fuck, when I get to be 70, I'm going to be all old and decrepit and my back's going to be worse. And I'm already fucking being negative. And then I have to stop and I have to think about technology and think, oh my God, what if the AI advancements and everything else cause us to be able to live until we're 120 or 130, right? What if all my fears about getting older, what if I'm literally like a 10-year-old now? And I could take all that experience. Sometimes we sit there and say, oh, if I knew then what I know now. Well, how about this? If you're 50, 60, 70, 80, I know people say, oh, Chris, should I get braces at 60? Fuck yeah. If you only have 10 years to smile, go for it. Do it. I got braces at 32. I had them on for 5 years. One of the best decisions I made. Awkward and uncomfortable and painful. And I had to have teeth removed and all sorts of shit. But guess what? I didn't smile. For those of you guys listening, I'm smiling. I did not smile until I got braces. And at 32, you'll be, oh my God, that's too old. Why would you do that? And then I saw people in their 50s and 60s. I see adults now with braces. I'm like, that's probably the best thing you're going to do. You're going to love smiling. You're going to feel better when you smile. You're going to feel better. Like I had fangs. These teeth are fangs and they stuck out. And if I smiled, it looked gross. And I had all these teeth coming out. And like I got it done. It's not too late, right? Technology is changing, right? Who would you regret not becoming if you lived another 40 years and you look back and like, oh my God, I could have taken community college classes. I could have done this. I could have done that. I could have stretched myself. I could have started taking art, whatever it might be. I've never thought about being a painter, but maybe being a painter, try it. Like sketching, maybe there's some hidden talent in there. Maybe my abstract ideas of what I could do would be a hit. Like, don't limit yourself, right? Regret and sometimes punishment for waiting too long with your previous excuses, right? But just get started. Again, taking that imperfect action. I would not be where I'm at today. I would not have the podcast. I would not have so many things in my life had I not just started. Like when I think about, like my car downstairs, I have a 69 Charger and I get overwhelmed and I think about the electricity and I'm like, it's just one wire at a time. It's just one wire at a time. It's just one step at a time. I've got some things that I'm doing in my personal life that I have to take a lot of steps to get done. I'm like, Chris, now the focus is just getting this. Just get that and then get that. There's no rush. Just keep taking progressive action. And as you take that progressive action, before you know it, it's going to be done. And you're going to look back and go, oh, fuck, I wish I'd have done it sooner. And that's a phrase I hear a lot of, whether it's people I'm coaching or people I've talked to or guests on the show or just random conversations. Like, what would you do that? And then I talk to them. They're like, oh, I wish I'd have done it sooner. I wish I would have had that tough conversation with my spouse that I've not had, but I've been complaining about for the last 5 years because they should know. They should know. No, open mouths get fed, ladies and gentlemen, right? It's too late for me. No, it's not too late for you. It's an opportunity for you to open your mouth and say what you deserve and stop being a victim, stop being a pussy, stop being a bitch, whatever it is. And I don't say that being mean. I'm just saying that because sometimes you are like, I got to stop being a bitch about something. Okay. When you think about it, here's the questions you can ask. Too late compared to what? Or too late compared to who? Right? If you're 65 years old, you can still start yoga. You still start meditation. You could write a book. You could start jogging. You could start painting. You could, whatever it might be, you could do it. So too late compared to who? Next question. What dreams still excite me if I drop the timeline? If you don't sit there and think about numbers, like I used to say age was just a number. And then I got older and now I'm like, oh, I'm 56 and I'm this. And I'm like, Chris, let's go back to the age is just a number. Like who created the calendar? Maybe I'm 56 chronological years, but maybe I'm still 37. But I'm telling myself I'm 56 and my body hurts. And Jesus Christ, in 10 years, I'll be 66 and it'll be worse. And I do that shit too. I do. But I'm like, what if that wasn't true? What could I start doing today? Could I start taking peptides today? Like for me, being proactive about my health has always been a top priority for me, but I'm doing it even more now. I'm even being more demanding, get more scans, get more blood tests, make more investments, like be knowledgeable about what's going on. I just had my liver scan, my gallbladder scan, my kidney scanned. Today, I just had my arteries throughout my body scanned. I've had 3 different types of blood test panels. I did 100 blood tests earlier this year in July. Vitamin deficiency tests. Like, let's go. Let's figure it out. What do we need to do? All those little bitty things. I've got a bottle of B Polis in front of me right now. If you guys are watching, fucking expensive shit and doesn't taste very good, but really good for you. So guess what? No excuses. Number 7, I'm not good enough. We got to get hustling. I'm not good enough. That's a lie. And that's negative self-talk again, right? Jesus Christ, people. Eliminate the word always, never, and try. I always screw up. I never get it right. And I'll try to get up at 5 o'clock. Right? I'm not good enough. That's worthiness, ladies and gentlemen. If you struggle to love yourself, you struggle to like yourself, and you need to be honest right now. What do you need to do? Maybe you fucked up some lives. Maybe you did some shit. Go back and apologize. Like, I have a couple of people in my life there's 2 people in my life that I really believe that I need to reach out to. And I never thought this before, but I think I need to reach out to them just to say, hey, that was then, this is now. I apologize for being whatever and doing whatever, even though I was justified and even though I could say that, but I feel like I need to close that loop. And not like I've done bad shit to anybody in my life. I've had a lot of shit done to me, but there's a couple of loops that I think if I died tomorrow, that their assumptions or their misunderstandings of me, that would suck. So maybe I just need to clear the air. And if you've done that in people's lives, I love the 12-step program. I love the fact that people have to go back and make amends. Like, talk about that. Go back and say, hey, I know you may not need this. And I know you moved on, but man, could I just have 5 minutes? Like, just to truly in front of them, if you can. I'd love to say I'm sorry. I'd love to accept responsibility for the things I did. And it may not have fucked you up. You may not have even thought about it, but I just need to, can you allow me a few minutes to talk about this and get this off my chest? Right? Develop that self-love, develop that respect and push yourself outside of your comfort zone, because guess what? You are good enough. You're more than good enough. You're great enough. It's just about who it is that you're associating yourself with and what limiting beliefs you continue to occupy your brain. So here's some questions. Who told me that? And do they still deserve that power? You're not good enough. Oh, my mom used to say that. My dad used to. My mom, I know she was trying to help me, but good Lord, it was fucking bad. So who told me that? And do they still have that power? No, she doesn't have that power. She was a hurt person. And once I put myself in her situation thinking, man, if I grew up at her time in the world with everything that was going on economically and politically and with the different sexes, men and women, and back in 1942, might I have turned out like her? Yeah. So I gave her respect and I gave her understanding and sympathy and compassion. It's still not right. And there's still a part of me that disagrees with it, but for the most part, it's healed. And I feel sorry for her now. What would I say to a friend who felt this way about themselves? Oh, this is huge, right? Your friends would come up to you and say, oh, I'm a piece of shit, or I'm this, or I'm that, I'm your son or your daughter or your husband. And guess what? You would tell them emphatically, no, you're not. And you would give them 17 reasons why they're not. So why not do this for yourself, right? What evidence do I have that provides I'm capable? What evidence do I have? I've made it this far. I survived all the different things in my life. And not only did I survive them, because I went through those, I became stronger. People tell me on the other side of going through cancer or going through life-changing events, like, oh, I'm so much better for having experienced that. I'm like, oh my God, that was a horrible experience. But maybe it taught them gratitude. Like gratitude for just people who've gone through COVID that are able to breathe without a ventilator. Like, people tell me, like, man, that was fucking scary. I couldn't breathe on my own. Man, I am fucking grateful. I'm grateful I get to breathe on my own. I get to see on my own. I get to hear on my own. I had a situation a couple of months ago where my hearing went dead for it felt like 10 minutes, but it was probably about a minute or 3 minutes. But I was freaking out. I was like, what the hell just happened? And it was something related to a medication that I had to take. Fucking freaked me out. Guess what? I'm so thankful for my hearing. So what evidence do I have that proves I'm capable? And the last question, what would I say to a friend who felt this way about themselves? Again, we have that, like when I sit there and I think about myself and I'm like, what would I tell Jackson? WWITJ. What would I tell Jackson? If Jackson came in here and said, oh, Dad, I'm feeling sad and despondent about this, I was like, oh, buddy, you got to think about this. You got to think about that. We're always so quick to have advice for everybody else, but do we take that advice? Right? Number 8, it's not my fault. Oh, blame. Oh, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. I'm like this. This is the way I am. All those things tied together. Blame keeps you self-protected and keeps you isolated from doing anything wrong again. Oh, if I don't do anything again, nothing can be my fault. As long as I sit here and I don't do anything, I don't raise my hand and volunteer for stuff. Nothing can ever be my fault. I won't ever make a mistake. I won't ever get criticized or anything else. And that's basically saying you can't handle disappointing others and that you're afraid of the consequences. It's not my fault. It's not my fault I turn out. It's not my fault. Like I used to tell people, it's not my fault that I don't know how to love. It's bullshit. I started reading books about love. I started opening myself up better. I started going to psychiatrists. I stopped blaming people in my current life for things that happened in my past. Like, oh, I'm going to be protective. I've been jerked around and just been betrayed so much. Nobody's going to hurt me again, but nobody's going to love me again either, because now I'm too closed off. Now I'm an asshole. Nobody's going to fucking get one over on me. Trust me, I met them. And then I worked with them. And then they're like, oh shit, I can't believe I've been pushing my husband away for all these years based on shit that happened with my dad 25 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it might be. Right? Can't handle disappointing others. Successful people know the outcomes and the consequences of not taking action. Like I know the consequences of not taking action or not eating right. I've seen people get diabetes. I've seen people go on cholesterol and blood medication thinners and all these different things, and they regret it. There's consequences to the things that we do and we don't do. And I think about the ultimate consequences, regret. Will I regret not being more excited about pushing myself out of my comfort zone? And there are parts of me that says, oh, I'm 56, I've done all that. It's time for me to relax and da, da, da. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. That's a lie that we tell ourselves again. Oh, it's time for me. It's my time to relax. No, it's not. There's this thing we're sold back in life where, oh yeah, you go to school, work hard, have a family, buy a house, have a career and retire. And then everything's easy. But the truth is the older you get, the more challenging it is. The challenge, you're not the same person you were before. I'm not in my career anymore. I'm not a leader. And there's so much of my identity that was involved in that. So I had to go through a painstaking process of re-identifying who I was and who I am, like we're talking about right now. And it sucks and it's lonely and it's isolating and it's crazy. But as you embrace it and as you like, okay, this is the new normal. This is the new thing. I'm not that anymore. It gets exciting. It gets exciting because then people come to you and go, hey, Chris, I've been dealing with this thing. I got laid off from my job. Well, you know what? I did too. And here's what I went through. And here's what I experienced. And man, the dark times are really dark, but man, here's what you can do. Here's some questions to ask yourself. Hey, I'd love to check in with you once a week. Hey, by the way, I'm a coach, whatever it might be, right? You've gone through those experiences. So now you can help other people go through that. What are the shift questions? What part of the situation is my responsibility, right? Ownership. Fucking A, man. The people who are successful and happy and the people who aren't, one of the big separators is the ownership. Like I take ownership for my mistakes. I take ownership for my failures. I take ownership for my successes. It wasn't just luck. Oh, I've been so lucky. I tell people, you're not fucking lucky. Like, tell me about the preparation it took for you to get accepted into that dance academy. Tell me about the process that it took to become the actor that got the role. Tell me about the process that, how to become a doctor, whatever it might be. So what part of the situation is my responsibility, right? My responsibility as a kid is that I did push my mom and was defiant, right? So maybe, not that I deserve to be beat, but I can accept responsibility for knowing right and wrong and still pushing the buttons anyway. How does this holding blame help me or hurt me? It definitely hurts you. And maybe it helps you. You think it helps you because it keeps you protected and it keeps you safe, but you're not being true to who you are and people aren't getting to see the real you. And you're not being as vulnerable as you could be. Vulnerability is painful, but vulnerability, man, is power. I've done it here on the show this year. I've talked about my fears and my worries, and I've been blood honest with you guys, right? It feels good. It feels good because when people afterwards like, oh, Chris, I didn't know you thought that way, man. You always seem so together and you seem so positive and so confident, and so energetic and so this and so that. I'm like, you see me or hear me for an hour. You don't see me the other 23 hours of the day. You don't see me on some days where I just get up and I don't want to fucking open my eyes and I don't want to get up. And I've had those moments, right? What's the last question? What lesson is this trying to teach me? What am I supposed to be learning right now? If you ask yourself that question, when you ask yourself that question, what am I supposed to be learning right now? I'm supposed to be learning to shut up and listen. I'm supposed to be learning right now to take chances. I'm supposed to be learning to be more curious. I'm supposed to be learning to shut up and listen, whatever it might be. What am I supposed to be learning? Got two more real quick. I've already tried everything, which is bullshit. Have you noticed a pattern? Most of the stuff is bullshit. It is lies. I've already tried everything. I've done it and I've never worked. Okay. What can you do a little bit differently? Maybe you tried 10 years ago when your frame of mind was in a totally different place. What is it that you can bring to the situation now that's different? Now, now I'm more patient. Now I'm more understanding. Now there's more tools for me to find the answers quicker, right? I can't emphasize it enough. AI, artificial intelligence, technology, apps. You can have an app built for your phone pretty quick now. Oh, it used to be so expensive. I tried to have an app created back in 2013, which I did, and it was like almost $10,000. But now there's so much you can do. There's IIFT, if then, if this, then. I think that's what it is. So it's basically if then statements, and you use it with your phone. You could tie two apps together, and if that app says this and then app says that, then do this. Like there's so much you can do. So when you say you've already tried everything, it's bullshit. Like what else can you do? Have you got a coach? Have you got a trainer? Have you bought it? I went through a health thing back in my 40s, I think it was, and I hired a nutritionist for a year. It cost me $5,000, but she taught me all these different things, and we did these tests, and I found out that tomatoes and stuff like that were actually kind of bad for me. Where you think it's really good, but they're called nightshade plants and blah, 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 all this different stuff. So when you think you tried everything, you have it. What can you do differently? Right? How can I switch my mindset about that? Have you tried consistently or just temporarily? Oh, I'm going to try to eat better. I'm going to try to work out. I'm going to try to listen. I'm going to try to not doom scroll on my phone. It's bullshit. Just don't fucking do it. Or get up and do it. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to give myself any excuses. And what would it be like if I just got up and put my feet on the floor, put my shoes on, and went to the gym? Oh my God, it would be amazing. That would be a miracle. No, it wouldn't be a miracle. It would just be you keeping your fucking promise to yourself. How about that? Here's another question. Have I been seeking new strategies or repeating the same ones? And the last question on this one is, what can I learn from people who have succeeded where I am stuck? Ladies and gentlemen, success leaves clues. Number 10, this is just how life is. That's just the way I am, right? I think you can tell by now that they're bullshit. This is just how life is. Very myopic, very close-minded, right? Resignation of what is, complacency, averages, learned helplessness, laziness. You're just being lazy. This is just how life is. It's bullshit. No, it isn't. It could be so much different. I have tons of books. I have listened to tons of books and read tons of books and podcasts, and I still consume YouTube videos, and I still read, and I still do all these things, and I'm bringing new information in my body and my mind, and I'm using chat, and I'm using Google, and I'm finding the answers. I was just doing it before. I have something here. I have something here right now on a piece of paper, right? God is my witness. Research, 9-year-old state of mind for chores and duties. What's too much? What's above and beyond? What is a good savings principle to teach them? So the information's there. What is the mind of a 9-year-old got going on? How can I better understand my son? How can I better approach the situation from his mentality versus mine? Mine in a state of authoritarianship, like I'm the parent and I'm the this and I'm the that. This isn't just how life is. More than ever, the technology and the opportunities are there. The groups are there, the Facebook groups, the whatever groups, the connections are there, whether it's in person or online. But it isn't just how life is. That's the excuses that you're giving yourself. So the question is, when did I stop believing things could change? Right? It's because I'm surrounded by people who are negative. Like, who are the 5 people you're around the most? And are they fucking positive and kick ass? And yeah, are they Chris's? Or are they Eeyores? I don't know. It kind of sucks and it'll be hard. And let's just have tacos and watch, what can we binge watch Netflix with? And let's talk about all the shit we can't control that we're pissed off about. And the government should do this. Are you hanging around people like that? Or are you hanging around people like, let's fucking go out and do something. Let's start a new hobby. Yeah, you need people like that in your life. Because again, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a vision, like the ultimate big picture, a vision of who you're going to become and who and what you're going to leave behind. I want people to get rid of their, I want people to be inspired by my life. I want people when I'm gone to be like, what would Chris say? What would Chris do? Let me go back and listen to Chris's podcast. I want my son to say, I wish my dad was here because he was so. I wish my dad was here because he knew. I want to be that person. I am becoming that person. Is it going to be perfect? No. But in that process of trying to find perfection, which is ridiculous, let's have acceptance and enjoyment for the process, for the unfolding of the journey of life. For me, I'll be 57 next year. I'm excited. What can I do as a 57-year-old? What minds can I blow as a 57-year-old? Can I be in the best shape of my life at 57? Yes. What is it going to take? It's going to take me looking at different longevity drugs and peptides and peptide 157 and all this other stuff. Pep 15. I don't know. It's about learning that stuff and taking B Polis and taking all this new shit that I started taking. And wow, what's the opportunity? What's the opportunity when I'm 67? My son will be X amount. How inspiring would it be to be 67 years old and him be 18 and be inspired by me? Right? Whatever it might be. So what is it for you? When you think about what lies are you telling yourself and what lies are you willing to commit? What questions are you willing to ask yourself and what work are you willing to do? What investments are you willing to make? Because a lot of you guys out there, and I will say this, listening to this podcast and watching this podcast, some of you guys still do the same shit. And I see your Facebook posts. I'm like, man, they had a chance to work with me. They worked with me for a split second. You know, some people join the group coaching program for like 3 months and then they dove out and they're like, oh, I'll be back. Not a single person who said they would be back came back. Self-fucking sabotage. Yeah, it's crazy. So there it is for you guys. I'm going to go downstairs and be a dad for my 8-year-old son who's going to be 9, and I'm going to enjoy my moments. So I love and appreciate you guys. Do me a favor. Please type in the comments, right? If you're watching this live, share the podcast out, call up a friend and say, hey man, you need to check out episode number 342. No more lies. This dude is talking about it. This guy made me feel uncomfortable. He made me think about things that I haven't thought about in a while. You know what? I'm going to take responsibility. Share this out. I'm asking you. The podcast is doing great. We're in 70 countries now. It was 30. Now we're in 70. We're doing great. Triple digit growth right now. Thank you. We're big in Brazil. We're big all over the place. So please share this with your friends. Let me know. Send me an email, Christopher@ChristopherRausch.com or info@noexcusescoach.com or on social media. Let me know how I'm impacting you. Let me know what you'd like to see more of. And I can promise you, stay with me. Stay coming here every 7 days and keep showing up to class. Keep doing what it is that you need to do to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and become the person you deserve to be. All right. We will see you here next time on the Raw Unscripted show. I love you guys. Be unstoppable.